I've been listening to music while I'm getting ready for the podcast. Hi, guys. My name is Heidi. Welcome to Undead Yarn. This is episode 98. Getting close to 100, guys. I was listening to music before. I was like, I'll just keep playing it. Kind of was getting me in the mood for spring break. Spring break is now. I'm on cup of coffee number 3. And this is in my Knitting Lanyap mug. And I believe they're going to be at DFW Fiber Festival, which is my next upcoming show. I'm doing 2 shows this year. One is at Dallas Fort Worth Fiber Festival, which is in the Irving Convention Center. And the other one is in Houston Fiber Fest. And that one is I believe in Cypress, Texas. I forget the name of the hall, but you can look them both up online. Let me go ahead and take a look. I wrote notes. Mostly they're just so that I don't forget anything, because since I've only been podcasting once a month, I don't like it if I forget something, because then if I want to tell y'all, I'll have to come back and do it all over again. Anyway, my first thing that I'm going to show you, I only have one work in I have 2, but the other one isn't really that far along, so I'm not going to show it yet. But I do want to show you on Instagram, if you've been following me, I posted that I have a colorway for DFW Fiber Festival. It is their 13th year, and you know the number 13 is very prominent in horror films. We have Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is supposed to be a day of the supernatural, kind of scary. Don't want to do anything like walk under ladders. Anyway, this is my color. This is what it looks like in a ball. And I started knitting it up, so you can see what it's going to look like. It's going to be a little cuff probably that I'll put on a cup, like a coffee cozy. Or it might be a wristlet for something that I'm going to be bringing with me to be in the booth. Anyway, this is what the colorway looks like. I don't know if I'm going to put it up on Instagram, but y'all who've watched it, now you know. You've seen it. And that's my only FO right now, because I'm trying to get shop stuff done, but I am looking forward to finishing it because I bought some yarn the last week and went to a retreat, and I'm kind of inspired to do some new things. One of my FOs I didn't bring, but you guys did see it in the last part of it in the last podcast and work in progress. The Demigorgon socks, I've done 3 of them, and I dyed it on a sock blank, and the sock blank is 463 yards, so it's a normal skein of sock weight yarn. But what the thing is that because I have small feet, I was able to knit 3 socks. If you wanted, you could knit knee socks, and then you would see more of the gradient colorway. It's a black, gray, red, and pink colorway based on Demigorgon from Stranger Things. And the other thing I believe I have it over here. And this is in my Playing with Needle bag. Playing with needles. I love the fabric, isn't it cute? In this bag, and you'll see more from her at the end of towards the end of the podcast, so stay tuned. I have finished my show sample, and this is the Junction shawl, and it's by Yarns Untangled. And I did not knit a whole shawl. What I did is I knit it for a sample so people could see how the supernatural colorways go together. Let me show you guys. This right here is supernatural. The first color is supernatural. Then I started putting the minis together. So over here are the minis. This is the first one, and this one I believe is Fox. That's terrible. I should remember what I called my colorways. I think that one... No, it's not Fox. I can't remember. It's one of the beer company, Family Business Beer Co. Colors. And then this one, I remember this one because it's an Austin name. This is Grackle. Oh, this one is Hall & Oates. The one right here, the first one, is called Hall & Oates. And then the next one is Grackle. And you can kind of see, you can kind of see. It's got the black and gray and purple in it like a Grackle. back to Supernatural. And then this one is a greeny colorway. This one is Hamilton, and it's not after Hamilton Pool, which is the road that their business is on. And then this one, I believe this one was wheat. It's a wheat beer. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's based on the color of their wheat beer, and then back to Supernatural. So I do have to block it, so I will show it again, probably after DFW Fiberfest, so y'all can see what it looks like. But I think this would be a fabulous pattern for hand spun. I modified it because it's actually, this is like a little shawlette, but it's meant to be a fairly big shawl. It takes 500 yards in the pattern, but you can use any yarn, any pattern. You can see I have not woven in any ends or anything. But actually this I could, when I'm done with the sample, I can actually wear it as a scarf. It's long enough to be a scarf, and I really, really like it. I think I am going to use this pattern for some of my hand spun, because you can knit it until you're done. So it's like the Quaker yarn stretcher, I mean. And it's not difficult. It's like knits and purls, and then at the end there's a little lace. And it's a free pattern on Ravelry. So those are the things that I've been working on. The last few weeks I did go to the Hill Country Weavers retreat, and that was so much fun. It's probably why I'm still in such a good mood. I really had a lot of fun, and it's so nice to get the whole weekend to hang out with friends and not have to worry about cooking, cleaning, or any of that stuff. Or husbands. I love my husband, but you know, we all need a break. The first day that I went there, I went to the airport to pick up Jo Meyer. She flew in from Nashville to go to the retreat because she's heard Jeanette and I talk about it so much, and we hang out with her at SSK. So we went, after that we drove to the resort, and I actually passed the entrance. Well, the first entrance was really obvious, and I knew it wasn't that entrance because I remember from the year before that did not get me to the resort easily. So I kept going, and apparently I passed the second entrance, and I was like a half hour past it when Jo said, "Is it out this far?" Oh, we were just having fun talking. Anyway, we got there and had lunch, and then after that we basically some of my friends had classes, but Jeanette and I did not, and so we went to the market, and I looked around, and I talked to a lot of people in there because I know some of the vendors. Anna of Yarn Carnival was there, and I actually did end up buying 3 skeins of her yarn, and it's funny because they were lined up right next to each other. And I know the first 2 were on purpose, but the third one, I don't know if that one was on purpose. She told me she did kind of try to arrange them so that they looked nice together, but I think the third one might have been a fluke. But I'd really like all 3 of these together, although I may honestly just use 2 of them and then save one for socks, but we'll see. These are the 3 that I got, and they're all on her yak nylon base, which is called Yak Attack. And let me show you. These are the 2 I'm thinking about doing a stripe study or doing that new shawl by Lisa Much that just came out. It was free for one day. She does it a lot. So if you don't follow her, you should follow her. She has really fabulous patterns. They're not difficult, but they're really beautiful, and you get to use up usually at least 2 skeins of yarn. So I really like these 2 together. So I may do the stripe study, which Vera Mackey gifted us for taking her class at the retreat, and the class was fabulous. It was about stripes, and I am so inspired now to try so many different things with stripes. And the way that she was teaching us, you don't necessarily, well, you probably wouldn't use self-striping yarn, but you can use up your stash in really unusual ways to make stripes. And it wasn't just making shawls. She also talked about making socks and different kinds of stripes. So I'm really excited to work with some of the ideas that she gave us. These 2 I was thinking would make a really nice stripe study. At this point, I'm not sure if I'm going to put them all 3 together, but these are the 2 I fell in love with initially, and then I noticed that the brown looked really good with them. But I might do these 2 for a stripe study and then use this one for a pair of socks, because I don't have a lot of brown socks. I wear brown a lot. It's one of my favorite colors. And this one has, like, it has speckles and stuff in it, so it's got a heathered look. So it wouldn't just be knitting with plain brown. Although, I have to admit, I don't mind that. It's not like knitting with black where you can't see what you're doing. Oh, and this is the nice bag. They always give us a really nice bag. It's the Knitting in the Hills Retreat bag. And there's a nice handle that you can use. You can make it long or short. Then they have these shorter handles, and it's very sturdy. And there's a pocket. There was a pocket somewhere. Oh, on the side, there's a pocket on the side, so you can put your water bottle in there if you want. And they actually gave us a water bottle, too. It was really nice. We got a lot of decent swag from the bag. I don't think that I brought a lot of it down, but that was the first purchase I made. And then, the people that do Yarn Carnival are also the ones who are doing the Texas Fiber Arts promotion. They're trying to get our names out and let people know that, yes, we do knit in Texas, and there's a lot of textile artists in Texas. So that was the first day. I can't remember what we did in the evening. We had dinner, and I want to say there was something that I don't remember. Oh, we had a fashion show. I forgot. How could I forget? I was part of it. If you had a Hohi or a Vera or a Michelle Wong pattern, you got to walk the runway if you wanted to. And I did. I showed them my Jody shawl in my own yarn, and I'm proud of myself for doing that because I'm kind of introverted, and I don't always like to be out in front of people like that. But I'm glad I did it. There were so many of the not the stripe study. What was that shawl? He did the mystery knit along that she did. There were so many of them, and it's not a big retreat. There were like 100 people there the first couple of nights. The last night, I think 50 more people came, but the first night there were only, I want to say it was about 100 people, maybe a little bit more. But for that amount of people, there were a lot of those shawls. You know, the big one, the big mystery knit along that she did. I wish I could remember it, but I actually really want to knit it now after taking her class. And the next day, I took a class from Vera in the morning, and in the afternoon we hung out. And then in the evening, we had a lady from Independence Fiber Mill talk to us, and she actually gave us a skein of yarn from their mill. They are based here in Texas, and it was, I want to say it was a merino and a mohair mix. I have to go back and look at it again. But it was very generous. She gave everybody at the retreat a skein of that yarn, and there was a pattern that went along with it that was also in our bag. And I really enjoy hearing about that. And then there's a lady who has come the last couple times, and she talked to us a little bit about the new research in Alzheimer's. She's collecting money, and there are also going to be some, I forget what it's called, but there's also going to be a few groups in Austin. One of them is going to be sponsored by Hill Country Weavers, where you can, it's something to do with knitting, but I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly what it is. If it's like a day where you knit for Alzheimer's, I'm not sure. You can go to the Hill Country Weavers website to find out what it is. I think you might need to register if you want to be a part of it. But it's to raise money for Alzheimer's, and they actually did raise a lot. The year before, they raised $9,000 at our retreat, and this year we raised 10. So it's something that affects almost everybody. So it was it's important, and it's nice that she came back. And then what did we do the next day? The next day I had a class in the morning with Joji Locatelli, and it was about using your multicolor yarns. And I really enjoyed that class because it gave me inspiration to go through my stash. She really said, like, take all your stash out and look at it. And she gave guidelines for how to figure out what to put together. Once again, we went over the color wheel and hue and, what do they call that? There's like hue and darkness. I forget all the terms, but now I've taken several classes with that. So she had us, before we left, put together a little set of colors, and I of course gravitated towards this color. Was basically the color I picked. I didn't pick this skein. My friend generously gifted this to me, but This is by Chasing Rabbits, and this is the skein I used for my medium, and I had a dark purple, and I believe the other color, let me see, I'm going to look on my phone because I put it together, but I believe I did, it was called an analogous match. She had different ways that you can put colors together, and I really liked the colors I put together because this was my main color, and this is, every time I go somewhere I want to buy this color. So that was my main color. Let's see. Oh, I guess I've uploaded it already. And there was a purple, and I believe the other color was a blue, and the colors went together so well that I took a picture of it, and I am definitely going to make something with those colors. Probably a shawl. I don't know if I would do a sweater in those colors because I don't know. I kind of like the more colors that are more muted together in a sweater. These are striking, and I think it would look better in an accessory. So I was very happy about that class. It was a lot of fun. And in the afternoon, we knit and hung out, and some of our friends came in from Austin and San Antonio and Colleen. And so all of us were together, and we were loud and having fun. We had a really good time. I really enjoyed it. I love going to that retreat every year because a lot of my friends go, and we all get to hang out together and catch up. Because since we don't all live in the same town, even though we all live in Texas, we don't see each other all the time. We try to get together at least once a month, but not everybody can always make it. So it was a really great time. It's fabulous, and it's a fabulous retreat. Like I said, Joe came in from Nashville, and there are people who were there from California. It's set up by not only Suzanne of Hill Country Weavers, but Cindy Hallam, who also does the Knit for Fun Ann Bud retreats, and Ann Bud was there too. She's such a neat person. She's very knowledgeable, she's funny, and she's interesting. But those are also some retreats to check out, the Knit for Fun retreats. Cindy is an excellent planner and organizer. So these retreats have been amazing. I'm planning to go to Knitting in the Hills every year unless for some reason I'm lucky enough to be able to go to Edinburgh Yarn Festival one year. I may do that instead because they're so close together. But otherwise, I'm going to be at that retreat every year because it's not very far. It's in a really beautiful place. The food is amazing, and they always have amazing teachers, and it's always really well run. And if there's anything that is not working or things are not going well, you can always talk to Cindy, or you can talk to somebody else who works there, and they will take care of it. So I highly recommend this retreat if you can get in. It is kind of tricky to get in now because a lot of us who have gone every year try to get in the minute that they announce it. So anyway, I had a great time, like I always do. And now I'm looking forward to DFW. So I'm really trying to get into the dye pots. I have that new colorway I showed you guys. I have put up a couple of skeins of yak silk in a beautiful, I would say it's like a baby blue, but it's really a tonal blue. The yak and silk that I have it comes clear, or not clear, what do you call it, ecru, because they've bleached it so that I can dye over it, and there isn't any brown in it, which definitely does add to the dye because I love how these come out, but I kind of like that it's yak silk and it's got nothing on it, so it's like an open palette for me. I also dyed some Circe on it, and I'm going to bring that to Dallas Fort Worth. And guys, this stuff is really nice to knit with. It is slick, but it's so beautiful, and it drapes beautifully. So that's my new base, and I also have a BFL base that has a lot of yards. It has like 657 yards, and I'm trying to dye mostly solids, but I am going to have a few speckles in there with that one. Those would be great for shawls because that's going to block out wonderfully. It also would be nice for sweaters if you are interested in knitting a sweater in fingering weight yarn. Personally, I would rather do DK or or worsted, but if you are into that, that's probably 2 skeins would be like over 1,200 yards. So that's another base I'm very excited about. Let's see, is there anything else? Oh yes, I need to announce the winners of our Shorty Socks Knit Along for February. The winner for this month is winning a skein of Marigold Jen. And the colorway is Larkspur. And the winner for this one is this Yarn Mom. And her name is Wendy. I'm not sure where she's from because her address is not on there. So this Yarn Mom, PM me on Ravelry and let me know that you heard this and send me your address so I can send you this beautiful skein of Marigold Jen. And then I have a prize for next month. There weren't any FO thread winners this month because nobody posted, but people are still posting their finished objects. So y'all, if you have a finished object in my yarn and you watch the podcast and you hear this, you are welcome to go post in the FO thread because every month I draw for a winner for a $7 or less pattern. So if you post it in the Ravelry group under the Undead Yarn FO thread, you can win a pattern. And sometimes there's maybe 3 to 5 entries, but sometimes there's only 1 entry, so you have a good chance of winning. I'm going to show you, I also, before I get to the next prize, I wanted to remind y'all that I have this skein of Fishnets yarn that is an incentive for y'all to go and subscribe to me on YouTube. You just go to YouTube and then you click underneath, you look underneath the screen where I'm talking and there's a red button that says subscribe. I believe it's red. It might not always be red, but if you push that, you can subscribe to my channel. Once I reach 1,000, I'm going to set a caveat. Once I reach 1,000 viewers or the end of the year, I will draw from everybody for this yarn, and there will be a YouTube contest for that. So whichever comes first, the end of the year or 1,000 viewers. I know a lot of you from iTunes have not come over. I've gained maybe 100 people since then, but a lot of you guys that were watching me on YouTube have not come over, and I'm trying to entice you to come and subscribe on YouTube because I want to keep our community going. This summer, I am hoping to be podcasting more often, definitely every other week. Maybe if I have more time, especially in July and August, I may try to do even every week. So I'm not going away. Right now I'm podcasting once a month because I'm trying to concentrate on dyeing and building up my business. But I'm still going to be podcasting once a month. So if you would like this skein of yarn, if you like my podcast, please go subscribe on YouTube. And I think there was one more thing I wanted to tell you guys. Oh yeah. This bag that I showed, there were a few more things I bought that I wanted to show. I bought this, and I had not heard of this, and there's apparently a bunch of them, and I would actually, after I look at this, I may go and buy the rest of them. It was only $20. It has quite a few patterns in it, and it's by hand, and they concentrate on a region of the world. I'm not sure if it's all United States. I don't remember. I know one was Portland, one was Puget Sound. This one is Maine. It may just be U.S., but it might not be. I'm not quite sure because I hadn't heard of this magazine before, but it's called By Hand. And it's about community-based. It says, By Hand is a series of community-based lookbooks that focus on different fiber and fabric communities around the country. Okay, so it is based in the U.S. But it has lovely photos. It talks about different designers. It talks about... I haven't heard of this place. This is called Saco River Dye House. It talks about different places where there are dyers, different places where there are mills. And I know that Maine is very popular and has a lot of those in there. So I thought the Maine issue would be a nice one to start with. But I believe at Hill Country Weavers Retreat, they had 4 of them. I'm not sure if they have more than that, but I think they had issues 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I am very excited to dig into this. And then the other one I had to buy because they also did a fashion show from Interpretations number 5, Vera and Hohi. And I have to say, they're lovely ladies. Really nice ladies. And when they did the fashion show, there were at least 2 that I definitely want to knit. And there's a couple other ones that I would consider knitting. It's funny, I'm not big on, I'm not a big garment knitter. I have knit I've knit at least 5 or 6 tank tops, and I've knit 2 or 3 sweaters. But I kind of like knitting shawls and socks because they're done quicker. But this one sweater was just so lovely that I may have to knit this. It's called Glacier by Joji Locatelli. The only problem is, y'all, it's a fingering weight sweater. But it looks so beautiful. This is what I really love, is the detail down here, how it does a V in the middle. I've bought swimsuits like that because they're flattering. They're more flattering and they kind of hide your bits you don't want to accent. And then there was another pattern that I wanted to knit. That one I believe, let's see, I think that one, because Joji was wearing it, I believe that's Joji's sweater. And then there was, they might both be Joji's patterns, but there is another, there's a tank top, or not a tank top, it's a short sleeve sweater by Vera that I might knit, because somebody else who was about my height and build looked really cute in it. But this one I really, really like, and I believe I'm going to knit this one. Let's see if I can find a good, here's some great pictures. It's called Tree Seeker. And the cool thing is they did a little presentation on this, and then there also was a question answer the last night, and they based, these two work together, and of course this is volume number 5, and they said they're planning to just keep going with them. They're planning to continue to work together. What they did for this is, and I think they do this for all interpretations, is they had a word that was their inspiration, and each of them would design a pattern based on that word. So they went through all of it and showed us, and they also showed us how they did the photo shoot. It was just really fabulous, and I just think these two women are so adorable. They're really, really interesting people. So yeah, I had to get that. And I did get one other skein of yarn, and this is by the Fiber Co. And the reason I bought it, well, number one, look what color it is. It's my gold color, of course. But the reason I bought it is because it's Massam, and it was, I believe this, yeah, it's a blend of brown Massam wool, merino, and mohair. And it's a little bit, it's like worsted, I think. It's either worsted or DK. Let's see what it says. Needle size 6 to 8. So it's probably a worsted. It might be a DK though. But anyway, it's, I'm going to try to knit socks with this because I've been listening to Knit British, and she's been trying to look into knitting with yarns that don't have nylon in them for socks. And mohair is supposed to be a nice strong thing to knit socks with. This has a small content of mohair, so it's got a little bit of a halo, but not a lot. And I don't think it's going to be too scratchy. It feels very nice in the skein. So this is probably going to be a pair of socks, and the nice thing is it's a bigger weight, so it'll go faster, and then I can test them out and see what I think about knitting socks that don't have nylon in them. I have knit some pure merino socks in DK weight that I haven't had a problem with them. But I did knit socks with fingering weight merino. Not a good idea. It didn't last very long. The thicker yarn seems to be lasting, and it's not superwash, so I'm not sure why, but take the info that you will. Anyway, I think that it's probably time for me to finish. I have a dog over here that's whining at me and staring at me. And he probably wants to go outside. So with that, I'm going to say, get busy knitting or get busy dying.